Hannah Murray on TRE in the afternoon.
Joining us on the line now is Menno Meyjes, the screenplay writer of BAFTA and Academy-nominated The Colour Purple. He's also the winner of a Goya Award and gained global recognition for co-writing Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade. More recently, he directed Max with John Cusack in 2002. His debut novel, Blood Axe, is, I love the way this is described, the secret diary of Adrian Mole in the Marvel universe by way of Bukowski and Nick Cave. Sounds brilliant. Welcome to the show, Menno.
Well, thank you for having me.
It's great to have you with us. And first of all, I just want to say how The Colour Purple was robbed of all the Academy Awards it was nominated for. Disgrace that it didn't win all those awards.
Well, thank you for your support, albeit a little late.
Yes, there's nothing I could have done about it, sadly.
Possibly not.
But I mean, what an amazing movie. I mean, seriously, how did the whole project come about?
If you really have to know, my agent called me and said, Spielberg is looking for a writer for The Colour Purple. He's seen everyone in town. He might as well see you.
Nice.
Literally. But I knew about it because, I used to live in San Francisco, and it was at that point, it wasn't really, the book wasn't that big of a deal yet. It was The Colour Purple was a slow burn, and I knew about Alice, and I knew Whoopi Goldberg as a street performer in Berkeley. So they managed. I didn't see Stephen in the first meeting, but I made lots of notes and stuff, and I then had a second meeting with him, and then off we went.
Yeah. What was it like seeing the story and your words come to life on the big screen and acted so incredibly?
It was completely amazing. I mean, it was my first real kind of, I'd sold a film before that, but this was, and Stephen was so generous, and he said, come, I want you on the set, and to see how he worked. And yeah, indeed, as you say, to see it come together was like a dream, really. I mean, it was also the way the devil lets you in, because it's not always like that.
Mm-hmm. And what was it like being involved with Indiana Jones and The Last Crusade? Being the third in the trilogy, is it difficult kind of following on from other people's work like that, or is it nice to have that background to start from?
Both. Yeah, I mean, but I sort of sidestepped. I always thought that you couldn't come up with a better treasure than the Ark. So I had the idea of the Holy Grail, because it's ephemeral, and so in that sense, I both worked with what had come before me and kind of, and sidestepped it at the same time.
Mm. And how about going from screenplay writing to directing? What was that like? Because very, very different roles.
I mean, I think, when you write, it's interesting when you write, unless you are, incredibly successful as a director, when you write and you say, 20 horses come over the hill, they are exactly the horses you want them to be. When you are directing, your producer comes up to you and says, you can have a donkey. that's a big difference, and you kind of just have to work with that. You can't then lose your mind and say, I'm not going to shoot this scene unless I have exactly what I want, because it's not in the budget. So there you are.
And Max was quite even though it was a fictional story, it was quite a controversial subject, an art dealer and his friendship with Hitler. Did you feel the controversy and the sort of pressure working on a controversial project at the time?
There was a lot of controversy around the project from the start. But when we were working in Budapest, I had a very good producer, a guy called András Hamori, and he kind of drew a bubble around us. And, the nature of making a film anyway is so intensive that you're really not particular. And also, this was, it's also quite a while ago. I mean, there wasn't, you wouldn't be like, clicking onto your phone to see what it says on social media about it. You just kind of shrugged your shoulders and said, it all felt really cool when we were making it.
Yeah, absolutely. So how did the idea of writing a come about? Because again, that's a very different medium.
People would when you write, as I do, I suppose, the facile but kind of true answer, and I am fairly facile, is that I got tired of writing exterior day, or which is what you do with a screenplay. You always write a scene heading, an exterior day or exterior night or interior cafe or whatever. And there was a moment in January a couple of years ago. It was snowing outside. I wasn't feeling particularly fabulous. And I thought, I also kind of wanted to fall in love with writing again. And I needed something freer than a screenplay. Screenplay is, you're always doing it for a purpose. And the purpose is that you're going to turn it into something else. So it's by nature, a transitory thing. It's a stepping stone, a blueprint for something else.
Yeah. So once you decided you wanted to get back into writing and writing a novel, did it take you a while to decide on the kind of novel you wanted to write? Did you have a clear idea about the genre and things like that?
No, I never have any clear ideas about anything. I just sort of go. I just sort of go, and then I'll I make it up kind of as I go along. And I wanted to write about somebody who was quite fragile, I suppose, because I was feeling, a little out of sorts at that moment. And, films are so often about winners. And I just thought, well, let's do something else.
Yeah. And the main character is a teenage boy. Does that mean that the book is what they call young adult? Is it aimed at teenagers or not necessarily?
Well, what's the cliche? It's for people of all ages. But, obviously, I certainly thought to myself a few times in fits of hubris, if I were 16 or 17, I would like to be reading this book. So it's definitely for, if you're feeling, let's put it this way, if you're feeling slightly disenfranchised, it's a good read.
Yeah. So tell us about the main character of Alistair.
Well, Alistair is a boy around 14 who is being bullied, and he has a love affair with words, and he's also extremely interested in Norse mythology, and he has his own god, which is Ul. So he thinks that Odin and Thor and all are kind of nouveau riche gods. He has the most ancient god, which is an extremely obscure god called Ul, which is supposedly the god of skiers, archers, and slackers. Mm-hmm. And he as his life becomes grimmer and grimmer, he doesn't want to deign them as prayers, but as requests, which he makes of all. And one night he wakes up and there is a strange man in his bedroom, which sounds alarming, I know, but it's a guy called Eric Bloodaxe, and Eric Bloodaxe has been sent from the 9th century to help him. And then that's when his problems begin. It's a little bit, it's a little bit like that old adage that, more tears are shed over answered prayers than unanswered ones. Because as he says about Eric Bloodaxe, whose first suggestion is that they go to the houses of his enemies, set them on fire, and when they run out, cut them in half. So from that moment on, which is not something Alistair wants to do at all, from that moment on, he says, or muses rather, having Eric in your life is rather like having your own atomic bomb. It's nice, but there's not much you can do with it. and then
go on.
Yes, go on. No, you go on.
Well, I have to ask, were you passionate about Norse mythology before writing the book? I mean, did you think this would be a good subject to write about, or did the character come to you and you thought, what can he be interested in? And then you started researching into it?
No, I've always loved Norse mythology. I think it's the most completely bonkers mythology. It's so nihilistic. It's violence. It's performance art. I mean, I've loved reading the sagas, and it's so other than the world and the mores and culture that we live in today, that makes it very attractive.
Yeah. So is there a little bit of you as a teenager in Alistair?
Yeah, I suppose there is. Although, I mean, it's slightly overdone that, because it's a little bit like being an actor. If you're playing let's say you're playing a gangster in a film, most of the time you tend not to go on and, robbing a bank after the movie's over. So you tend to, you work yourself up into a kind of frenzy of the character, but you're not. I don't. Actually, I'm slightly disappointing. Tend not to pray to Norse gods. Maybe I should.
Yeah, maybe you should. Absolutely. So, how long did you spend writing this book compared to other writing projects that you've done? I mean, how does it compare to writing a screenplay for a movie, for example?
Well, you'll be interested now, as you appear to be, which is incredibly kind of you, to be a fan of Colour Purple. I wrote Colour Purple in 2 weeks.
Whoa, that's impressive.
Yeah. Well, it was because I was terrified. So I have that kind of thing that I go to what I sort of am lucky that way, that if something tends to frighten me over the hole, that is, I tend to go towards it. So I wrote this pretty quickly. I mean, I'm also quite obsessive. So once I go, I kind of go, and then that's all I can do, really. So I think I wrote it in a couple of months.
Wow, amazing. And do you have particular times of the day that you prefer to write?
This is my favorite subject, is be a complete bore about this kind of thing. But yes, I get up. I always, about once every 3 years, somebody asks me for advice, and I always give the same, which is try and write as close to when you got up as possible, because you're still in a kind of dream state. And I sit down, fairly soon after having my first cup of coffee, and then I just go. I'm a big morning writer. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I think most writers are morning writers, because your what do they call it? Your executive brain is well, in my case, marginally functioning, but in my case, it's fully functioning.
And do you let things get in the way of your morning writing? I mean, do you see it as I'm going to work, I'm sitting at my desk and I'm writing in the morning? Or if someone says, hey, do you want to go out for breakfast, or can you come round and do this? Do you say no?
No, I can't do that.
It's your time.
Yeah. I mean, it sounds prissy, but
No.
You know, I mean, it's so bloody hard to kind of gee yourself up for those things. You know, you so have to believe in it. It's such an absurd thing to be doing that once you kind of are in it, you know, I'm writing another book now. And I've been doing it for a couple of months, and I think I've maybe taken 4 days off. And those 4 days, I was kind of drumming my fingers on the table because I felt I had to take the 4 days off because I was about to start editing the book I had just finished.
Yeah. As long as you enjoy the process.
I do enjoy I listen, it's like anything else. I enjoy it and it's going well. But, you know, but it's not going well. It's like the worst possible thing you can do to yourself.
So I have to ask, the book that you're writing now, is it a similar theme or something completely different?
I mean, utterly and completely different.
Oh, how lovely.
Yeah.
And you're not going to tell us what?
Not a word.
Fair enough.
A word. No, God, no, that will bring all sorts of horrible. I'm also very superstitious. So
okay, fair enough.
Bad luck on me.
Yeah, no problem. Well, if people haven't seen The Colour Purple, first of all, they absolutely have to watch that. And then they can definitely get a copy of your book, Blood Axe. It's available on our website, tre.radio, and it's by Menno Meyjes, who we've been chatting with today. Menno, thank you so much for joining us.
You've been very kind. Thank you.